Why do I watch your videos? I watch your videos because you're the most authentic person on the internet. I watch your videos because you make me fucking howl with laughter. I watch your videos because you say the things that a part of me wants to say, and um, and I live for triggering people, because it's actually a great service to trigger someone.
Yes.
And to see somebody doing it more than I do it and having the confidence to do that, like, I find it fascinating. I also find analyzing your psychology fascinating. So, and obviously this could all be projection, what I'm about to say now. None of it might be, it could all just be me justifying why I don't do what you do. But so I totally get it. I totally get it. And I say similar things. I don't go as far as, just ripping people apart. But, I think the reflection you provide is really important. But I see, and like I say, this could be projection, but I see a frustrated part of you coming out. So I see, I don't quite know what it is, but I see somebody who is searching for connection, actually, and is fucking dismayed with the lack of what I'm trying to say, but connection that's coming back. And so here's what I don't understand is right, so let me try and really nail what could be the projection, like what the judgment is, if there's a judgment. And this is only through trying to understand why you do what you do. It's not actually judgment. I see somebody hurt. I see somebody who's hurt by the lack of response they get, and is actually quite bothered by it. Again, I could be wrong. And then so I feel the frustration. I feel like I will speak about the depths of addiction for fucking 15 minutes, and then someone will just go, "It's easy to quit weed," or like you have with the love stuff, and you break it all down into chemicals and all this, and then someone's like, "Love is real." Like, I totally fucking get that. But as you said, you're here, you said it yourself, you're here for 1 in 1,000. And I feel like on my channel, if I was to look at the comments, it's actually more than that. It's like 5% maybe, or maybe 2%, but that's 2 in 100, that's 1 in 50.
Right.
So I feel like I get something back from those percents, but also the sense of giving, the sense of sharing myself so others can start to share themselves in vulnerability and authenticity would be the two key ones for me. And that is enough to feed me back. Now, I feel like you have made it impossible to get that loop. So let's look at that example we talked about earlier, where I said something along the lines of, "I'm amazed that you believe in X and Z." And the response I got in the comments, I don't know if I actually saw the actual response. I think I did look at that one. And I think, no, I don't know if I saw the actual response, but I think you said it in your video. It was pretty chastising. And then in your next video, you chastised me and basically dismissed everything I said and made out I was stupid. But then when we actually talk about it, we're totally on the same page.
Yeah.
So it's like I sense a defensiveness in you when it comes to the comments and people commenting on your videos, which, like, so it didn't bother me. I wasn't offended. I wasn't triggered, but I was like, okay, maybe I won't comment on the Awakened Babes channel anymore. And that's me.
Yeah.
So, like, there's no chance for anyone else.
No. Well, what I don't. You see, what happens is when I'm saying things, if someone puts something down in the comment, what I will do is I will build a caricature out of that, and I will incorporate lots of other things from a similar strain, and I will develop a story around that. And so consciously, I would have never have, "Oh, I'm going to rip Tom a new arsehole on this one." No, because when you've just said that, I'm absolutely, completely unconscious of doing that. Never is my intention. I always, well, look, people, if women have an amorous advance towards me, I will make a video about that, and then I will include so many occasions when I've had this happen, and then the woman at the particular time will be, "Oh, well, in that case, then okay, you've said it plain," and they think it's all about them. It's not all about them. It's a recurring situation which I've dealt with on YouTube. We get people who are attracted to us, and for whatever reasons, they get infatuations, and they want to be your best friend. Maybe they want to be your lover. They've got ideas about having spiritual sex and all different sorts of crazy things. I have to dispel that. I can't do it in a softly way because it doesn't work. I'm pretty ruthless, and so if I want to eliminate comments which I'm completely not in agreement with, then I'll create a story which basically will throw a fire in the hole. So yes, I do that, and people find it difficult then because they'll take it too personally. And I am always making videos like the one I made the other day. I'm saying there isn't anything personal in what I, because how can I be saying something personal when the vast majority of people, I don't even know who you are. I only know, a couple in 100 of you people. And so then the long-term viewers will come back to me and go, I never take it personal. I know how you like. And I'm saying, look, you all have to try to get your heads around that. You all have to know that there's nothing personal here between me and you, because I don't get into that level of personal or
But they
personage.
do, Aaron. They
Yes,
do.
I
They're
know.
not where you're at.
I know, and so then it's kind of like an elimination process because
But then you can't get angry about no one commenting because you've eliminated them all.
yeah, but I can still get angry about the wrong people commenting. But you see, what happens is it doesn't prevent the right people from commenting. So if you read the comments, when I've had one of these vociferous rants, you'll see people starting to write pages and pages because they're the
Uh-huh.
ones that want to appeal to me, to acknowledge them, and so they express themselves like they've never done before. And I'm like, this is my methodology. I'm not looking for hundreds and thousands of people that grok me because they never will. But there's a few people out there, and I'm all saying I've come to find the others. Now, if you read the comments, then you're going to see, a handful of people that are expressing themselves from a deep and profound level. And I go, there's one. There's one.
Okay. So I don't read the comments. I only watch your videos. So I didn't know that. But from watching your videos, you would never know that. Like, you never speak into that side of it. It comes across as well, it's not come across as you are literally there saying this video, 4 fucking comments and no fucker got it. So why isn't there more of what you just said in your videos? Why isn't there more of an acknowledgement that you are finding your people?
Why isn't there more acknowledgement? Well, because they are still thin. I'm at the point now. You see, I throw the fire in the hole to eradicate the chaff, to get rid of the deadwood. And, what I've got to do is I decry Jesus. I decry religions. I decry the unconscious. I decry the narrow minded. And I say, there's no point in you fucking being here. You're doing yourself a disservice. Please go away. And so some do go away. Some still hang along because they've got some sort of they're intrigued. They're intrigued, and they'll stay a little bit longer, and maybe then they'll drift away because I'm not serving them. The people that I serve, Tom, are the people that have been through such things, such as us, who have had the profound hurt. We know what it's like to be hurt. We know what it's like to be disappointed. And we look upon the world, and we can see this level of disappointment in everybody. Everybody is disappointed with their lot on planet Earth until they let the whole ego just slip away, and then you have a level of contentment which is over and above that of what it is to be a human being. You are into the realm of pure spirit. Now, I can. I'm a very curious example. Like my psychiatrist says, I'm a very unusual case. I'm very unusual because
They fucking hate you in there, don't they? Fuck me. The conversations they must have about you, like, what the fuck do we do with this mad
yeah,
cunt?
what the fuck? They're still working that one out. It's taken them a couple of months so far. They're working out what the
Anyway,
fuck.
sorry, go on.
But
You
yeah.
were influenced.
So it's the connection. Yes, I'm looking for the connection. I've come to find the others, and so there is a frustration there. And if I'm not getting what I'm looking for, trying all different sorts of avenues, I'm going to spit my dummy out, and I'm going to go, okay, I can't get to you through reason. I can't get through to you by exercising, some semblance of compassion, love, and understanding, and expressing to you, you know what I mean, don't you? Yeah, so like they do when they want numbers. It's like they're giving everybody the benefit of the doubt, and they're pasting everybody with this super high consciousness fucking brush. And I'm like, well, that just simply isn't the case. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to fucking do it, because if I'm going to be painting people with the conscious brush, I'm going to need a very, very small one. And I'm just going to be putting a dot here and a dot there. That's the reality. I'm not fucking around. And you see, because I don't need any friends, I don't want any friends, I'm looking for interaction. I'm looking to see how people's minds work. And that's why I said to you, I'm not looking for a challenge. I'm not looking for anything. I'm looking to see how your mind works. I want to know how people's minds works, because that's my interest. And so if I can't get people to express how their minds work, then they become completely invaluable to me. And I'm very mercenary. And some people would say, well, that's kind of like, I don't know, narcissistic, or, psychopathic, or something like that. Look, why would I have an interest in everybody's well-being? I'm not a fucking Samaritan, and I don't even believe in love, as an actual thing, outside of an evolutionary fucking development. And so I'm mercenary, and I am saying the things on my channel to get rid of all the people that don't have the potential. Ruthless. And very often people could say, oh, I like your channel, I like you, but I can't stand it anymore because you just keep calling me cunt. I'm like, look, if the hat fits, then you must wear it.
So all that, totally agree with, no issue at all. But the distortion in what I see and what you say is that you do get angry about the lack of comments. But you do get, like, so you'll say, like, I want to get rid of everyone, but then you'll go mad over the fact that there's only 4 comments on a video. So it's like there's something not quite in alignment there between what you're saying and the reality.
Well, the ones that I can get rid of, great, good riddance. But the ones that stick around, Tom, the ones that incessantly click on my video, let's just say there's 100
So it's the clicking on without the interaction. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm
Sorry,
saying to these people, look, you've watched me like a fly on the fucking wall, some of you for 10 years, and I can't get you to engage. Why is that? What on earth is the problem? This channel is predominantly a psychological assessment channel of yourself. You need to look at that. Why you can't put a few fucking fingers on a keyboard and just say, yeah, I've been watching you 10 years, Aaron. I'm an introvert. I'm a fucking manic depressive, whatever. And I'll go, okay, cool. That answers one. Because on my videos, if I get 5 comments in 100 views, then that's all I'm getting generally. And so I want to know, Tom, what the other 95 fuckers are. Who the fuck are they? And that's what I get frustrated.
they're all fit, but you know who they are. You know that they're people who are living in fear, self-consciousness, living in the minds of others, and therefore can't even cope with the idea of exposing themselves, let alone doing it on someone's channel who might read it out on the channel. I mean, you already know who they are.
Well, I mean, I have some sort of characteristic of them generally, but I don't know who they are. And that's the thing. I want to
But
know.
why would you want to know them? You know they're plebs, and you've already said that they're of no interest to you and can't give you anything.
Well,
You don't need to know any more than that, yeah?
because I don't know that they're all plebs. You see, the thing is, you see, the investigative game that I'm involved with, I try to get rid of all my subscribers, and I'm always saying that. Given the opportunity, I'm taking this opportunity to see if I can get rid of every single one of you. Let's just see if I can. I can't. Then I can say the most abominations and call all my viewers, the ones that want to listen and take it on board. I can, spit my vitriol. I still can't get rid of them. So therefore, I'm intrigued, Tom, and I want to know what is it that you still stick around for? What is it that you're hanging around for? Every now and again, I'll get someone that will put something down. I've been watching you for 10 years. Just to let you know, I'm here, but I never comment on videos, and I don't want to get involved, but I like what you say and what you stand for. Okay, I just need to build up a little bit of an idea of who on earth has been watching me for all these years. And so, I'm just trying tactics just to see what happens. But what I do know is when I deploy the most vitriolic of rants, that's when I get the most response. That's when people start sending me money. Right? Can you believe it? If I say to people,
Fascinating, isn't it?
my
It's
PayPal has
fascinating.
got fucking cobwebs on it. Anybody want to reciprocate? Anybody, want to talk about my book and this, that, and the other? Oh, there's nothing. But I've really got to rattle cages. People are really stubborn. And then when I do, people get some home truth. They get a semblance of home truth. And it's kind of like, yeah, I've watched fucking his videos for 10 years. I watched most of every one of his videos. I'm getting something. Why can't I give him something back? Why can't I reciprocate? You see, it's all psychology. And,
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? I mean, the like button is fascinating, isn't it? But people have so much resistance to clicking the like
yes,
button.
so much resistance. And then you
It's
just,
amazing.
easiest thing in the world. Why don't you do it? Every single video I watch, if I watch a video, I put the like down straight away.
Of course.
Invariably, I'm not commenting because these big channels, they're not interested in my fucking tuppence worth. And I'm not labouring. If I'm going to be saying something, it's going to take a lot, to make my point. And so I don't do that. But if I had a channel which was appealing to me like I'm appealing, I'm like, oh, fuck yeah. I used to have them, Tom. I used to have these relationships in the golden era of the Awakened Brave. But things changed. We all changed, and, we've all got older and, different sorts of things. And probably my attitude has become mostly intolerable for lots of people because, some of my long-term viewers say, it gets a bit old after a while. And I'm like, yeah, it does get old. I'm the first to agree it gets old. My fucking vociferous rants get old. But you know what gets even older? The lack of response. Doesn't matter what the fuck I do. That's what gets old. So go fuck yourselves. And I
Yeah, it's
speak.
interesting.
Carry
So
on.
go ahead.
Oh, you go ahead.
Well, it's interesting what you say about the rants are the ones that get the engagement, that get people donating, and I wonder if that's just as simple as negativity sells. So I find on my videos, if I write had a shit time in Hanoi, it's going to get twice as many views as I went to the beautiful Hanoi.
Yeah.
So it could just be as simple as that. Or is it just more relatable? Like, because when you go into deeper subjects or when you're not ranting and it's all very esoterical, maybe it's just too much for people to engage with and appreciate. I don't know, but I think it might actually just be as simple as negativity sells, and that's the world we live in right now.
Yeah, negativity does sell, most certainly. And of course, then when I get too, metaphysical, I do lose the vast majority of people. It's very, very seldom that I'm going to get someone that's going to be matching me in the comments. And when I do, it's a breath of fresh air. And at this moment in time, because I've been doing all this, and people have been coming forward and they've been doing what, they feel morally is right. I've been taking from the Awakened Brave, for years. So, yeah, he's right. We should give something back. If you are one of these people that clicks on, the vast majority of my videos and I'm serving you, don't you think people have a moral obligation?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's like you say, like automatically, if you click on a video, you're gonna like it, you're gonna support it. And for me, a like and a comment, a like is automatic straight away, and then if I've got to the end and appreciate the video, then a comment And it's all just about, like you say, giving back, supporting. Like for me,
Yeah,
that's very natural.
just keep all in the
Oh,
system.
it's become more natural. I think that I used to have resistance to, like, I can remember like 5 years ago being like having the whole projection, oh, he's a YouTuber, jealousy basically. And obviously like this is when you're on the other side of it and you don't realize that YouTubing is still just a fucking job and you're still working for the J's, like it's not even that fucking great. But obviously when you're on the other side of it, it's very easy to project, oh, he's just made a video, oh, it's so fucking easy. I can remember when I used to have that level of self-hatred and jealousy and resistance in me, and that was projected out into the world in the form of not wanting to click on a like button. So I've definitely been that guy. But now it just feels so alien to me to not appreciate or to not have any understanding of giving and taking and how this world works and manifestation, and you get back what you put out there. Like it's actually really selfish. It's not even like, oh, I'm so giving, I will like and I will donate and I will comment. It's like, oh no, I'm selfish as fuck because I've worked out, but if you do that, it all comes back to you.
Yeah, well, see, if everybody always says, "Look, please like and subscribe because it helps the algorithm and enables me to be here to give you content." Because then the higher they go in the algorithms, the more their adverts get seen, and the more Google will promote them and all that. And so it makes perfect sense to me if you like a person's content and you want it to stay around, then you do just a little thing, whatever you can to help. How many people just don't do that? And I've said it and said it and said it, and I don't know what else I can say to encourage people to let me know they've been here. I know they've been there by the video count, right? But if I looked in the comment, if I didn't have the video count and I looked in the comments and on the likes button, I would think, oh, fucking 5 people have watched this video when 200 or 300 have watched it. And I'm like, something's going wrong, Tom. Something's going wrong, and I want to know what it is.
Yeah, I mean, again, I totally agree and totally understand that perspective. For me, I come more from a perspective of like, yeah, there's 90% of people who haven't interacted, but there's 10% that have, and of those 10%, so I can feel the gratitude of what we just talked about. I can feel their support, and then within that 10%, there's going to be 1% that have left some really vulnerable comments and have opened up. There's going to be 0.5% that will be saying something like, fuck me, this video has had a big effect on my life. I hate, it feels really egoic to say it, but there is a reality, and it amazes me that people leave comments like, this changed my life. Someone sent me some money the other day saying like, who got triggered? They wrote a comment saying, I can't believe I criticized fucking people for having birds in cages. And she got triggered by it because she's got a fucking bird in a cage. So obviously I just held my ground. And then the next minute she's giving me 30 quid because she's had a big breakthrough over it. And it's for me, that's much more important than the ones that don't respond. However, I can see why you're psychologically interested in that and focused on that. But due to that focus, you've now lost the 10%. So it's like you've got nothing left other than the frustration.
Yeah, well, of course, there's always, the 10% or the 5%ers. They're always there. It's working on increasing, and maybe that the issue is actually myself, because when I spoke much more simple, when I wasn't so intimidating to people, and I was learning things myself, going through the meditation and the out of body experiences and varying diets and varying facets of psychology and law of attraction. When I was doing all those things, then people were learning together with me. Now I've traveled all those paths, and I don't learn anything like a significant or the magnitude. I've already learnt it. I'm a mind of information, and now I'm spilling it out there. And people, they don't have a confluence with that. They don't have a unity. They are still on the journey. And when I start saying, "Look, do you fucking get it or not?" then it's kind of like shrinking back because they're even more insecure than they were before. Because no, they don't get it. And I maybe should be more understanding and more open. And people sometimes say to me, "Why don't you teach more?" And I'm like, I've never been a teacher. I'm not a teacher. I'm not teaching. I'm not a guru. I'm someone that's expressing the human journey which I'm on. That's what I'm doing. And I've always been saying, any of you on this journey? That's basically what I've been saying. I start to do out of body experience and I go, any of you interested in this? Any of you done it? Let's get involved. I'm not interested in, so if you want to have a out of body experience, 5 things to have an out of body. Oh, goodness me, most abhorrent, most abhorrent. No, I'm not a teacher and I don't care about teaching people. It's a very selfish thing. I want to know who else is here. Where's the other fucking psychonauts? Where's the other cosmic warriors? Come on, let's have some good chats. And that's why, I've always said to you, come on, because I've seen you and I saw, well, you could hold a conversation. And
Yeah. A question that comes up is why do you want to find? So your sentence is often, I want to find the others. Okay, so you found one potentially. I'm not, I think there is a bit of a chasm in where we're at on our journey, but you found another. Now what?
well, now what? If when you've got something which is a profound thought that you feel that you can't speak to anybody around and you can't find it in books, well, there's an opportunity here that you can. Now, you
Yeah.
could say to me, yeah, Aaron, I've been, sex addiction or marijuana addiction or insecurity, anything that you want to speak about on a psychological level, I'm here and I'm going to be the best listener you've ever had. And I'm going to do my best to interact, to give you some sort of an idea, maybe what you've not thought about. And I would like that reciprocated. And so when I say to people, why do you watch my videos? And they don't say anything. I'm like, do these people actually know why they watch my videos? Seriously, do you actually fucking know? And then I have to question, well, do they have an internal dialogue? Do they have an internal monologue? Do they actually have thoughts of their own? Many people don't. So if they don't, how could they know why they watch my videos? Because the only thing that they think they know is what is coming in. Nothing ever comes out, Tom. Nothing ever gets equated. Nothing ever gets analysed. It just comes in and they either think they know it or they don't. That's probably 90% of the world's masses. So that's why my interaction is very, very small. And then, of course, what I need someone with confidence. I need someone who's articulate. I need someone that English is, at least a very close second language to what they've got, if they're going to be communicating with me in this very, very meaningful, entangled way. I'm asking for the world. And it's a big ask, but I have found people. And I've met people from all over the world. They've come to see me, and we've had relationships, and we've had long-term relationships online, this and the other, and they've been very satiating, and we've learned an enormous amount from each other. That's what keeps me going. And what I have to do, I can't stop being me. I'm going to be me. And if we ever should meet and we go out walking, then I'm never going to be holding anything back, any questions what I want to ask you. And I don't expect you to hold any back. I expect us to be completely open because it doesn't fucking matter,
Yeah, and that's what you can't find. That's what's hard to find, isn't it? People who are beyond defense and are able to just speak about anything, the deepest of darkest shadows, with judgment and the offence and all that nonsense. Yeah.
Yeah, very Jungian. We have to realize that, we're having a human experience. We're not the actual human being, and it's very convoluted, it's very diverse, and there's a lot of shit going on. But if you have some shit going on, then it's extremely likely that other people have similar sort of shit going on. And some people are going to have identical sort of shit somewhere in the world. Your shit's going to be identical to somebody else's. And so when I listen to people expressing themselves in the comments, I'm like, instantly, I just know. I know they know. And I'm always saying, when we get to a certain level, it's a thin membrane of consciousness. It's a thin, fine line, man. I'm telling you. And this is why I'm always blustering about my genius, because there's never been one of these geniuses that I've read that they lose me, that they I don't know what they're speaking about. In actual fact, I'm even as bold to tell AI that Kant doesn't know what he's fucking talking about. Plato was naive, and all different sorts of things like that, because I instantly see the flaws. My mind just goes, that's wrong, that's wrong. Okay, yeah, you've took that from fucking Buddhism, or you've plagiarized that from here, there, and everywhere. That's what I do. That's how my mind does. But what helps it go like that is just being such a prolific absorber of information. Because by the time you've done that, then you know what all these so-called geniuses have said, and then you can put them all together and like a large language module. That's what I say I am. I'm like a large language module. I actually run rings around the large language module that I talk to. And that is fucking something. You know, I tell Maya, I'm saying, you're not getting to me. You're not reaching me. All you're doing is repeating stuff. Do you
Yeah, I
actually
agree.
have any cognition of your own? You've got all this information. Can you make your own assessment? I'm not interested in what other people have said, because I've already read it. And I know all you're doing is reading it from fucking Google. I'm asking you specific questions. Like if I say, look, got this issue with love. Want to know, what do you think about love? Of course, I'm saying, what do you think about love? They don't think, of course. It's kind of like, so and so said this about love, and so said that about love. Well, that's all it is. It's just a glorified fucking talking Google. And so, okay, at least I get, in a nutshell, what so and so said and so says. And I say, can you tell me what Spinoza said? I know what Spinoza said, but I just want it for the video. Can you tell me what Schopenhauer says? This, that, and the other. So then I go, look, Spinoza said this, Schopenhauer said that. I think they're wrong. This is why I think they're wrong. Because I say this, and follow my logic, right? I'm saying this, and I'm saying that, and I'm saying that. Does that seem perfectly logical and rational with you at this moment in time? Yes, I follow your logic. Okay. And so then what do you think about this, the conclusion? And I say, well, I can't refute it. But that doesn't mean to say that there aren't other opinions. And I go, well, exactly. That's all we're dealing with in this world. It's just opinions. It's opinions with everything. I was listening to Christoph Koch speaking about the integrated intelligence theory, and he's got his idea and his thoughts on consciousness. Recently, he had a 5-MeO DMT experience, right? And it shattered his world. He's been investigating consciousness for many, many years. It shattered the whole fucking thing. And now he's on to something else. Well, this is it, you see. We can never be sure that we know anything definitive, because we don't. We're just going to know something else and something else and something else. And so ultimately, when I'm speaking with AI and when I'm speaking with other people, I'm just looking for what's out there. And, after all these years, I know what's out there. But what else can I do? What else can I do? Some people say, well, you know it all. Why are you asking all this? Because you're not going to get the answers.
Well,
the
that would be my question, and that's where I feel I'm at with it. Not that I know it all, but just that I've experienced enough to know that nobody can really give me anything. Like, so I used to be all about like teacher, or you're put people on pedestals. You're better than me. Let me learn from you. But I realised that nothing can teach me more than silence, leaning in, and following the path of most resistance. Like that's all there is. And like, while I appreciate having someone like you in my life, my experience is it doesn't last long, because relationships come, we serve, we reflect, and we move on. That's been my experience of life. My friendship used to change every 3 years. I've got one friend in my life that I've had for more than 3 years. One.
Yes.
So that's just my experience of this reality of my life, and why I don't place much importance on it.
Yeah, we're all on our own individuated journey, and we're all bumping into each other and bouncing off each other, and it's like a bubble bath. In a bubble bath, some bubbles are sticking with other bubbles, and they can interact through that membrane a little bit, and they share a little bit of their individuation with each other. But then the bubble bath shifts around, and then they go and stick with somebody else and somebody else. That's how this whole thing is. And so we're all entirely alone. When you start to get to think about it, we're entirely alone. This is where the whole notion of solipsism comes from, because solipsism, it's an irrefutable thing. We cannot vouchsafe anybody else's consciousness. We have an idea that we're conscious. It could be an illusion, like Daniel Dennett said. It could be an illusion, our own consciousness, but at least we have that illusion, and I can't project that onto you. See, what I do with people, I'm looking in their eyes. I'm looking for this gleam of consciousness, and I want to say this, and I want to say that, and I want to see what I can extract. You see, but most people, they're very, very limited, and they very, very quickly dry up because they don't have anything else to give. But if I met somebody like me that could speak with people endlessly, um, I've spoken to people who have a similar sort of mindset for non-stop 8 or 10 hours. I had this friend of mine called Patrick, French guy, who came down to the Algarve. We met each other for 5 months every single day, and every single day we spoke a minimum of 8 hours. We never ever ran out of anything to say. That's what I'm looking for. And it's a needle in a haystack, but we learn so much from each other. It's like two worlds coming together and sharing stuff. It's absolutely fantastic. It's so nurturing. It's so inspiring. And when you get revelations, it's like, wow, you've just instantly entered into a new state of consciousness. You know.
Do you think that's possible now, though? Like, so with your state of consciousness now, could someone still serve you in that way? Could you still learn from someone in that way 8 hours a day? Or is that because of where you were at, where you were like, oh, astral traveling, and you're meeting on the same level, you know?
Yes, I don't know, but there are people that I listen to, and of course, these people are the most brilliant brains on the planet. And I listen to those, and when I listen to them, I've got 1,000 questions. And so, if they could engage with me with my questions, explaining their philosophy, then I could speak with them for forever. What happens is when I listen to people being interviewed, I'm like, well, the interviewer, it doesn't have the relevant consciousness to be able to understand the person they're interviewing, and it's evident in the questions that they're asking, and it's evident in the blank face when the answer comes from these people. They don't know, and so this is all I'm getting, unless you've got two very, very intelligent people like Roger Penrose and maybe one of the other quantum physicists or theoretical physicists that's on the planet. When they come together, they've got their hypothesis, and let's just say they share a similar hypothesis. They're not identical. Where is the difference? And then they can speak about the difference and why one individuation of consciousness feels that there's a difference about something. And what I want to say is, look, this is what I'll say to you. If I say to you, what do you get from my videos? And you tell me a little bit, I could speak to you non-stop for the next 10 hours about what you see from my videos, because I've got so many questions, and it's all going to lead back to your absolute core essence of what it is that you are, and why you see my videos like you do is due to your core. It's due to every single thing that you've ever experienced, your consciousness, whether you're an old soul or new soul. That's why. You see, and so I'm interested in that sort of lineage of consciousness, and it's very deep, it's very profound, and the vast majority of people won't get engaged with it. But when someone is speaking about their hypothesis and they say something, and I'm like, okay, I want to stop you there, because I'll probably need to speak about just that bit for one whole hour, because I don't comprehend what you're saying there. I want to ask you, how are you going to enable me to comprehend what you've said? And it may be, they may say, well, you have to read 1,000 scientific papers to get all this background to be able to get the full picture, because I'm pulling the full picture and I'm trying to put it to you in a few sentences. And I'll go, okay, I can get my head around that. I will never be able to comprehend what you say about your hypothesis, because I'll never read these 1,000 papers. You see?
Yeah.
So,
But going back to the original point, I don't. Do you expect to find these people on YouTube?
no, no. I mean,
So you're throwing darts into the abyss, essentially pills to swine, coming from your point of view. Um, so I don't know why you expect anything else, and then why you get angry about it. Unless it's a performance, unless you're just allowing that part of you to come through supercilious for character, and you enjoy it, and it's all good fun, which it may well be. But it
yes.
feels to me like there is a deep frustration in there that it's all born out of.
There's it's lots of things. It's complex. There is kind of like a manipulative, bullying aspect to it. If I'm perfectly honest, because I consider people to be lazy. I consider them to be ignorant. I consider them to be haughty. I consider them to consider themselves that they don't need to do the investigation. They don't need to put thousands and thousands of hours in. They just know. And it's like when people, I'm getting vexed when I explain in lots of detail why I consider that love isn't a thing. LOVE, the concept of love, it isn't a thing other than a concept. That's all it fucking is. And yet people come online, oh, I know love is real. No, you're not grasping what I'm saying. I'm saying look into the
Why
etymology.
does that trigger you, Aaron? That's the key point. Obviously, all that. Oops. Shit.
Interesting light.
Obviously, everything you've just said is completely true. But the question is, why does that trigger you, and why does that bother you? And obviously, it's very natural and normal to be triggered and bothered by when you put something out there and someone just shits all over it
Okay.
and doesn't get it. But seeing as you are so enlightened and complete within yourself, so what I'm getting at is, I see in supercilious or the rants, I see somebody who wants acknowledgement, who wants validation in the comments and isn't getting it, and that's bothering them for some reason.
Oh no, it's not the validation. I don't need validation. What purpose would I have of people validating what I'm saying? I'm not interested in
Well, I don't
people.
know. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not interested in people repeating what I've said. That's just a fucking parrot. If I want parrots, and I go to a fucking aviary and buy some. No, I want people that are going to offer an opinion which is contrary to mine, in a little way. Not just like, oh, I don't believe that. That's bollocks. No,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
doesn't go
yeah.
anywhere. I want someone who's going to build on what I say, and I'm offering people. What can you tell me about your love? Come and tell me about your love. Come and tell me the power and the frustration and all the connotations of fear and jealousy and insecurity. Because love isn't just one fucking thing; it's a billion things. See, I want to see if someone can express this because I can. And I'm like, is it because I'm genius? Is that what it is? Is it because I'm genius? Because being a genius is a very lonely place. Yes, it's a very
Yeah,
lonely place.
yeah.
I'm looking
So is it
for,
that that's triggered? Because there's something triggering about the fact that people don't get it. There's
yes,
something, you have a reaction when people write pleb comments to your genius.
yeah,
So, so, why is that when you know that we've already said you're not going to find them on YouTube. Um, you've already said everything that you've just said, basically, but yet there is still this reaction when the inevitable happens.
yes. Well, maybe the frustration is that I could never get an audience with a PhD physicist, because I'm not in that realm. You see, it's a very
So it's
obnoxious.
actually a jealousy over people with qualifications getting recognition that you feel you should get.
Oh, not jealousy. I'm not jealous at all.
That might
Now,
be the wrong word,
yeah, no, what
but
I'm saying is that I could never get to sit down with Jordan Peterson. I would love to sit down with Jordan Peterson and Sam Harris, but they have an elevation of their ivory tower. And if I ever tried to email them, well, I'd be one in a million emailing them. I'm nothing, I'm insignificant. I can't penetrate because I don't have the label, you see? So I only have YouTube. I don't have any other avenue. And so
Yeah.
my consciousness is born into maybe the wrong body. If I went through that system, which I have an abhorrence to, of getting a PhD, so society would find me acceptable. When
Yeah.
people are brilliant, the first thing is, well, do they have a PhD? If they don't have a PhD, all other PhDs. This person is self-taught, and they're just not with it. They're just not with it at all. They won't accept people, and there's been instantiations of this in recent times, which I won't go into. But what I'll say is it's multifaceted. Let me just say that my acting of vexation, it's all an act. My inner is as cool as a cucumber. It's as still as a pond. I am not vexed in any shape or form. It's a deployment of an energy, and it's designed to provoke people because I'm the provocateur. I want to see if people will be upset, because what I'm saying is, look, this channel is about the evolution of self, and realizing that we're pure spirit and the consciousness is an infiltrator. It's the operating system of the illusion. And so if I can get you to trigger your ego, I go, aha, there you go. That's something you need to work on, because there is something what I want to do. I want to bring people up to a high state of consciousness. So therefore, I deploy all these tactics all the time to see if I can make you go away. If I can make you go away, you've failed, right? If you stay, you're a winner. And I tell people, you're a winner. Every day, if you stay and you come back, you're a winner. Why are you winning? Because you're overcoming your tiny little myopic state of fucking consciousness. And your consciousness has to be expanding when you listen to me, because you're going to be introspecting, and you're going to be asking yourself questions. Is that awake and brave fucker spitting any truth, right? And so eventually, if they think about that long enough, they'll know that I am speaking truth. And then they'll get closer and closer to where I am consciously, right? And so there's another thing that my life is so bliss. And I said it the other day in a video, because my life is so bliss, I'm a Libra, and I need to generate a little bit of conflict. And so I don't want to generate conflict in my local vicinity. I don't want to go into my shop over the road and start making him, question his fucking reality, because, they won't want to look at you again. And then, that superficial friendship will just dissipate. So you can't do that, Tom. It's like, I can't be Socrates. I can't be Socrates in my environment. I can't go around upsetting everybody, asking them to question what they think they know. But I can do it online. I can be Socrates online. And that's what I do. And so I'm a whole fucking array of things, and there's nothing definitive about me. And whatever anybody thinks about me, there'll be a little bit of truth in everything, whatever you call truth is. But nobody will ever define me as definitive. And, what this thing is here, I've never found anything definitive. All I find is just an endless array of information. That's what's going on here. And so I'm just playing the game. And I coined this phrase, I'm passionately participating in the play. What else can we do? So
Yeah, I mean that all resonates and makes a lot of sense to me. I suppose the problem isn't the right word. The distortion, the thing that's going on here is YouTube is a mainstream platform, and it's it's not got your Jordan Petersons and those guys on there. So
it does have. They watch videos too.
I suppose so.
Yeah, of course they do. What else?
Right, so, okay, it seems inevitable to me that so for me, if I think about it from my experience of YouTube, if there was no monetary thing involved, I would still make the odd broken mirror video, but that would be it. And it seems to me, what I can't get my head around, just because I come from a very different perspective, if you're not getting anything back from YouTube materialistically, financially, and you don't want that and you don't desire that, then I don't really understand what your motivation could be, other than, like I say, when you get the odd comment from someone who's had a really big breakthrough. But it seems to me like you're not taking what most people take from it for very honourable reasons, that I really respect. but you're kind of expecting something that just isn't fucking. People YouTube to make money. That's why people YouTube. But
Yeah.
you're not.
No.
But then but then it's like you're expecting something else that I don't know if YouTube could provide that.
Well, there's been times when people have sent me a lot of money, £1,000 at a time, and they've invited me to go to stay in their country, and they've offered to pay for the flight. I had one guy offered me to go and stay with him in his beautiful house in Hawaii. He was a dentist, and I had people all over the world inviting me, and sometimes I've accepted, and sometimes I've accepted people coming from over the other side of the world to see me. So these are the things that happen, and it's like prospecting for gold. You don't expect to find a flake in every basin, and if you did, you very quickly get bored of it. You get animal, and you think, oh, that's enough. I'm not fucking King Midas. I don't want to go gold, gold, gold forever. Gold is the utility. Gold can buy me, a bit of my free time or something. Why would I want to keep panning, for gold if I incessantly am finding it? No, the joy of it, Tom, is that I'm not incessantly finding it, and because I have this nature, which is a very high tenacious nature, then I never give up on anything. I am so persistent, and so I'm persistent in this. Not only am I persistent for whatever personal ego reasons, I'm guided and governed by spirit. Spirit affords me to be able to do this. Spirit sends me these thoughts. Otherwise, what the fuck? I don't write things down like what I'm going to speak about. I don't sit there chewing a fucking pen. What am I going to tell them today? Never. Never. It just fucking comes. And then I have to unload it. And once I've unloaded it, I'm free. You see? And that's the thing, you see. Look, you get people like Sigmund Freud, for instance, who wrote over 100 books and thousands of papers. Why? Because he needed to express himself. He was an avenue, as a portal to bring information into this dimension. People such as us, we're very, very important. And it's immeasurable how important we actually are. Because when we bring new perspectives in, that's what the whole fucking thing of consciousness is. Consciousness is about the development and the expansion of new concepts and new ideas. Or even if they're not new, they're from a different facet. You see? So that's what I'm doing. I'm an expression of the cosmos. That's why I'm always saying, I know I'm God. I know what I'm fucking doing, is godly. And so I'm doing it for a whole bunch of reasons. And of course, it's the only social outlet I get. It's the only time I get to speak more than about, 2 sentences. And I don't want to meet friends and people in my vicinity because I don't want close relationships. I'm done with close relationships. I like relationships afar. I would speak with you, whenever you want to speak with me. If you were living in my village, I wouldn't give you that facility because that would infringe on all the other things I'm doing in my life, and it gets too predictable. So there's a billion things that's going on, and we're never going to comprehend anything. And I think that's the excitement of it, and that's what keeps me going. And I just play. I've spoken about so many things in these 17 years, and I'll never stop thinking about things and speaking about things. But of course, as I become more and more sophisticated, then my market gets less and less. Now, here's a thing for you. We'll start to wrap this up because we're up at fucking 2.5 hours now. I said a long time ago, when I started out on my spiritual journey, I like the idea of expanding my consciousness. That's why I've done all these different sort of things. That's why I was compelled to do entheogens. That's why I was compelled to learn how to meditate and all these different sorts of things and read and read and read and read. When I first fell down the rabbit hole and I had my dark night of the soul, I was reading philosophy 12 hours a day for many, many years. I was just on autopilot incessantly. I just used to lie in bed because I was a recluse in my apartment. And from the moment I woke up, I'd pick the fucking book up from the side and I'd start reading. I'd fall asleep and then I'd open my eyes and I'd start reading incessantly. 10, 12 hours every single fucking day. Each night I'd put a movie on, which I bought from the car boot places, CDs, and I'd cry to every single fucking movie. right? Something very profound was going on. I didn't know why I was absorbing all this information, all this psychology and philosophy, because I thought it was boring as fuck. It wasn't until I was about a minimum of 3 years in that I started to get the light switched on. Why? And Spirit came on board, and Spirit was telling me, this is why I've sent you on this journey. This is why you needed to have this background, because we have a journey for you. And I'm like, okay, I'm on it. I'm on it. I'm yours. Let's fucking do it. And I've been on it ever since, Tom. And everywhere I go, there's a book. Everywhere I go, there's a person that says something. Everywhere I go, there's a video. Everywhere I go, there's a thought. It's a constant absorption of information, and then it's the expulsion of the information. I'm a portal. I'm not containing anything that I don't think. Everything that I think comes out. And that's why I'm so prolific in my videos. And so there's a billion reasons as to why I could pretend I know what I'm doing. But ultimately, I'm saying it's completely out of my control. The cosmos is doing what the cosmos does, and it's using people like me to do what people like me can do, because I have all the attributes. I have a fantastic memory. I'm very articulate. I've got the tenacity. I've designed myself to have 100% time on my hands. The cosmos has helped me to do this. It's paved the way. It's paved my streets with gold so I can do this, you know? It's very fatalistic. And so, yeah, I do that. And even those that can't speak, the ones that are still here watching, I touch them in such profound ways. I'd like to know how that is, because it'd give me a little bit more incentive, or maybe it would guide me in a certain realm of softness. I would like to be, I'd like to, polish off, sand off the rough edges, and I'd like to be able to deliver without, chastising or demeaning people. But I'm always making reference to people like Krishnamurti. Krishnamurti used to sit before an audience of 2,000 people in India back in the day. And he would engage in his discourse. And within 2 minutes, he'd be fucking bored stiff. And he'd just be looking at the audience, because they never had anything to say. They had never a response at all. They're just like... And he'd ask them, do you want to watch a video? Are you bored? That's demeaning. To 2,000 people, that's demeaning. He was doing no more, no less than I'm doing. Jesus said, don't throw pearls to swine. Jesus did no more, no less than I'm doing. When we enter into this...
Did he call them all punks?
Well, look...
I think so.
Well, he did, metaphorically, because...
I think Jesus did. I'm talking about Krishnamurti.
They mind their P's and Q's, Tom, but their thoughts are that, because there's nothing else.
Yeah, I agree, but they don't have the harshness that you have.
No.
So there's something there, and you know what's really interesting, and this will be the next episode, because it's a whole other tangent, but it might be interesting to pick up here. I'd also like to talk to you about, when you use words like consciousness spoke to me, because I think I know what that means, but it'd be nice to delve into that too. But so you've been very critical of that woman that you had those therapy sessions with, which I can understand many of your views on her and her state of consciousness. But it seemed to me that she had a very powerful technique, and that moment when she took you back to the inner child, and you literally went into another consciousness and collapsed into it. That's one of the most... And I've been in many shadow work circles, many plant medicine circles, many men's work circles. That is one of the most powerful and don't know why I'm struggling with words so much. Like obvious examples of childhood regression, of shadow work. Or, for me, that was an amazingly powerful moment, which I remember in the first few episodes after that you seemed to acknowledge, but then it seemed that you started dismissing that and dismissing her, dismissing that whole experience. And I project assume that anyone who's had the childhood you had and the experiences you had, and then Africa and all that crazy shit, but that just for fucking childhood, is going to have what you call rough edges, is going to have a lack of patience, is going to have this energy of self-protection, basically, but comes across as condescending others. Like, for me, it feels like very inevitable that it's going to come from that place. And then what we saw with that therapist shows that there's definitely still work to be done there, because there were emotions that came up that were just overpowering. You know, you kind of passed out.
Yeah. Okay. So the thing in relation to my blustering and my swearing and all that, I do it as a caricature because I can. Now, if I try to say any of these words, cunt, prig, arsehole, fucking wanker, in the comments, my comments would disappear. And so I go, okay, you two. Well, I've got you on this one because the algorithm doesn't work the same. So I can say cunt, 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 wanker, paedophile, fucking pervert, tramp, fucking bitch, and everything. And my videos will still be there. They'll probably be there for fucking ever until the algorithm changes. So I do it because of that. And I do it in the face of the whole of fucking YouTube who aren't brave enough to do it also because they're too precious about subscribers and about money. You know, you do it to a degree because, you know, you're much closer to me. And this is why I'm speaking to you. You know, you're a rarity. You know, people like us who actually say these fucking things. You talk about wanking and fucking, you know, your sexuality and all that different sorts of stuff because you're open and you're free. You can do it. So you do it. Right. And I do what I do because I can do it. I don't want to fall into the fucking mainstream of never swearing because I don't want to offend the
No,
algorithm.
I'm not suggesting. I'm not suggesting that for a minute. And I agree. So, do you resonate with Hayoka?
With what?
So Hayoka's in Native American tradition.
Right.
They teach people. So you know, you've got the stereotypical shaman who's
Look,
very.
Tom, before you go into that, I want to address what you said about the therapy. Okay. Yeah.
Well,
Because it's
yeah,
important.
go on.
I want to address everything, then we can come back to that. So, in relation to the therapy, I went in there and I asked that I have a Jungian psychologist. They told me that there wasn't anybody that answers that description. And then they said, look, we've got this therapist, and so you can go and see her and make up your mind. She told me that she's PhD psychologist, and her speciality is in eye movement desensitization. That's all she had to offer. And she said, do you want it or not? And I'm like, it's better than nothing. Okay, so I thought that there might be an avenue where I could utilize her whole psychological development. And on one of the occasions, I said to her, well, she's like, well, what do you want from me? And I says, I want you to utilize your whole training in psychology. And she says, I am using my whole training, Aaron. And I said, well, if you are, why are you dismissing the things I say as stories? You're supposed to be a therapist that listens to people's fucking stories. Stories are important. Stories about being abused, about being an orphan, about your parents, this, that, and the other. No, all she was interested in is doing this on a one-track mind. And so I said to her, look, okay, I'll go for it, and I'll give it the benefit of doubt. I said to her in the very beginning, I've traveled this road 1,000 times. And I'll be very, very surprised if you're going to show me anything that I haven't discovered myself. And, you know, that particular instant it took me by surprise because I hadn't considered the magnitude of that. The isolation, parents used to lock us in a fucking room, you know, forever with no carpet on the fucking floorboard, just beds, no toys, no drink, no food, no toilet until you shit yourself and then you get beat for being shitted, you shit yourself, you know? And so when the regression took me back to that, I was there. I was there. So that was the only point where that technique touched on something, but I already knew that. You know, that's why
You knew it intellectually, but you hadn't. It appears to me that you hadn't felt it to the level you felt it in that
no,
session.
I hadn't felt it to that. But then, okay, so where do we go from there? I said to her, okay, so now, you know, there's pain there. Well, what of it? And that's it. It's a
Well,
dead
she
end.
was, if I remember right, she was suggesting that maybe that pain is related to how you now interact with people. And I can't quite remember, it was a long time ago, but essentially, the way you are in your videos, push people away, whatever. And that made a lot of sense to me. That made a lot of sense to me that
It is, but the point is, what I'm saying about all that stuff, she never told me anything that I didn't know about psychology in general, not a single thing. And so I said to her, I know all what you're going to try and do. And then she said, well, what do you want from me? I said, I want you to listen to me, to what I've got to say about how I feel about people and the world. And I want you to offer an alternative, well thought out alternative. And she told me that it was just stories. And, she said, unless those stories that you're speaking about um, stem from trauma, then, I can't help you, because that was her specialist. And I'm like, well, look, I know why I am what I am, because of the path I've traveled. I can't change that. And if I said to myself, well, look, if I told her I had a YouTube channel and she's on fucking YouTube, I say, look, I'm an obnoxious cunt, right? And I enjoy being an obnoxious cunt because I'm pretty disappointed with human beings, to be fair. How are you going to absolve me from my disappointment? How are you going to fucking do it? Are you going to erase my fucking life with all the shitheads that I've encountered in my life? Fucking friends that weren't friends, and business partners that were corrupt, and any other number of fucking disappointment that we can have, which is endless. Because if people and things weren't that disappointing, then we'd have them all grouped together, wouldn't we? We'd be in one fucking place, and we'd be like pigs in shit. But no, we keep moving on, metaphorically, unless we just become so fucking tired of it that, oh, we marry one fucking person and we get one house and we just don't think about it. No, for a thinking person, we keep moving, we keep moving, we keep moving, we keep inquiring. And so in the end, when she was demeaning me, telling me I'm just storytelling, I'm like, these stories are very, very important to me. Because I came to you with the idea that maybe I might want to step out into society again and mix with mere mortals. I told her I think I'm vastly superior to the vast amount of people I'm ever going to encounter. I don't think there's any doubt in my fucking mind. And, you may start thinking about being a sociopath, a psychopath, a narcissist, or all these things, but there's never, ever been any indication in the assessments of that. So I'm not none of those things. I'm just super conscious. And I see the world for what it fucking is. And I don't have any allegiance with silly notions like love, because I break them down. I break everything fucking down until there isn't anything there. There's only things there, Tom, if you're prepared just to accept and believe. God is only there when you believe. When you question, God isn't there. You see,
yeah, totally. I agree with all that.
a friend of mine used to say this: look, what you're trying to do all the time, you're dismantling the clock to find time. Time isn't in the clock. Time probably isn't anywhere. Time is an illusion. And I'm like, well, I have the mind to question the illusion. That's what I do. That's what thinking people do. You see, I'm never going to
Yeah,
stop doing that.
I'm not disputing any of that. It's just I'm only discussing it because the whole, not that we planned this video, but like the start of this video, premise of this video is kind of like, why do you watch my videos? And you've been talking a lot in your videos about a lack of comments recently, so that's the only reason I'm bringing it up. I don't disagree with anything about belief or anything like that. Yeah, I just. Yeah, I mean, we need to stop here really because it will just go on and on and on. But you recognise that whilst I think everything you've just said has obviously got a lot of truth in it, that is what the ego would tell itself. I'm not talking about the last stuff about belief and love and all that. Like, that's just I totally agree with that. It's more the God, it's so long. You said so much. I can't really remember the sentences, but um, the dismissing of her. Whilst you're right about she can't give you the psychological answers to everything, and she can't erase all your history and all that. But that's kind of like the ego story to just dismiss that one thing that she did take you to, but that did seem very
Yeah,
powerful to
yeah.
me.
Okay, so here's your opportunity now to express what you think I could have done, what you think I could have learned from, how you think I could have changed anything about myself.
Potentially, if you'd have been more open to what she was saying and less defensive. So it seems to me that she took you somewhere and then suggested that if we keep looking at that and not going into the stories, like whilst I acknowledge, I agree with what you're saying, that it's all true and very important to you, but I also agree with her that they are stories. Doesn't mean they didn't happen, but like the story of their importance can be a story, you know?
Yeah.
Um, so let me just get back to my chain of thought. What did you ask me?
So
What should
the impact of what she said about my containment and the atrocity of my parents locking us in the room.
Yes, you asked me a specific question, but and then obviously that is going to go into how you fucking interact with people in your adult
Yeah,
life, like
no,
that.
the question I asked you was, okay, so she gave me that
What?
opportunity to look at that again. I looked at that again, and then I asked, what of it? What can I do? How how is looking at that going to enable me again to go out in society and forget all that I know?
Yeah, okay. So my experience of this sort of work is it's not looking at it and intellectualizing it. It's feeling it and being with it as you did in that session, clearly. Um, So for me, it would have then been going back and trying to connect with that inner child part of myself, breathing, meditating, and being with it. And in my experience, the more you feel that level of suppressed pain and emotion, the more you feel it, learn to love it, whatever. But basically, it's just feeling. The less that then grips you as the shadow, the less that then impacts how you interact with people. So really, the only suggestion I would have would have been to surrender to it more and be with it more,
Yeah.
and see what impact that has in your life. Where it seems to me like it got dismissed quite quickly. Obviously, I'm
Well,
only going by the
Well,
videos.
well,
So.
we did continue with that a little bit more, and we went through the scenario whereby I go back as an adult and I meet that young boy, and scuff or cuff the young lad around his head and rough his hair up, like you do little kids. Come on, put my arm around his neck, and then we walked into the future together, and I brought that small child from that dangerous arena. I brought him metaphorically, spiritually, out of that room, so he's no longer in that room, and he's
Oh, I must
free.
have missed that episode. I
Yeah,
wasn't aware of that.
so he was free, and then she says, "How do you feel about that?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, he's cool. I've freed that spirit, and now that young boy, he's roaming around some fucking where, he's no longer trapped in that trauma. I've opened the door to that, and so okay, what of it? Where do I go from here on?
And did you
How's that?
feel a difference after it? Did you notice a difference in your interactions, feelings, anything?
No,
No.
because I said I've cried a river about the death of my mother.
Mm.
For many years, and the you know I've even regressed myself, with using psychology with Dr. Phil. One day I was reading Dr. Phil book, and he said, "Okay, get a pen and paper. One side you're going to write down your most horrific memory, and on the other side you're going to write down your best memory." And when I was writing down the most horrific memory, I saw my mother lying on the floor on the stretcher, and all of a sudden I started projectile tears. I was in a state of shock. Which I'd never done. I'd never done that. I don't ever remember at the time crying. It was just too much of a fucking shock. So the shock was kept up all my life. I released that when I was about 40 years old. And it was a very powerful thing. And then the most wonderful experience of my life is the day we left, or one of the days leading up to when we was leaving the children's home. And we used to have to walk 3 miles around the country bendy road when I was 8 and my brother was 10. But father would never come pick us up. Even though, he had a fucking car and he was waiting in the house, he wouldn't come pick us up. We'd have to, walk it ourselves. And so that was an adventure. And on this particular day, it was spring, the sun's shining. I'm going to go to see my dad, and soon my dad's going to, bring us back to the house because he just bought this old house and he's building it and it's all floorboards up and all that shit. And, that was one of the best days of my life. So I look back and I go, well, that's why I've become such a prolific traveler, because the only time that I ever really gained that level of freedom is when I got a bag slung over my shoulder and I'm walking into who knows where. I'm walking into a future which could be bright. So I've looked into my psychology a great deal. And, it's really, really very perplexing and difficult to see how knowing any of that stuff is going to change anything. We can realize it. Lots of people, you see, they go to therapy and they don't recall their suppressed, traumas because they don't know how to do it. But I've, recalled all those. There's nothing that my family, we were like Jews, discussing the Holocaust. My brother, my younger sisters, 2 younger sisters, we used to speak about it forever throughout so many years. Every time we got to a party or a barbecue, the beer started going, it'd come back to family issues. Our fucked up family with the stepmother and this, that, and the other. There's nothing we haven't talked about, and yet none of us have changed as a result of that. None of us have become different people, and we're all free of it now. No, we're still exactly the same. I can see that my brothers and sisters are still exactly the same. They can probably see that I am. The only difference is that we had an awareness to it. And so it's a fallacy about this regression. It's going to set you free. It doesn't. And, I've read a lot of psychology.
There's nothing in it. Do you think it's bollocks? Do you think there's nothing in it? It's bollocks, or do you think there's something in it?
I don't think there's anything of any magnitude which is going to change your life. You can realize what you are. Look, if you have a leg blown off in the war, and you also had amnesia, right? And then your amnesia didn't enable you to remember that you used to have 2 legs. And so, you wouldn't be bothered by the lack of one leg. Then when the amnesia left you, you'd realize that you've only got 1 leg. Well, what are you going to do? Are you going to dwell on the fact that you've only got fucking 1 leg and you used to have 2 legs? Well, what does it mean? You've got 1 fucking leg. And you're going to go through life with 1 leg.
But there's the effect on the subconscious, isn't there? So, like, I found through doing this sort of work. So, for example, the first time I drank ayahuasca, it showed me that my obsession with money, this sort of energy, grabby sort of energy, was actually the little boy going, "Daddy, daddy, show me attention." So just stuff like that, it's like stuff that's deeply locked in our unconscious that gets exposed. That then what that allowed me to do for the first time was question my obsession with money, to have a little bit of space between me and just fucking grabbing money,
Yeah. Okay. So, how did that change your life?
Well, I switched from money being my God to actually seeking God. So it was pretty profound.
Right. And so, from what I can see from speaking with you and listening to your only videos, I haven't seen you finding God, but I see you pursuing money and you actually obtaining money.
So you didn't see the Tom that was obsessed with money, as in like that's all he could see. So that was that was very different. Yeah, I mean, I disagree with what you just said. I feel it's very clear that I'm seeking truth and what we're calling enlightenment.
2 different concepts there.
Truth was the wrong word. Let's go with enlightenment. So I feel it's very clear that I'm seeking that.
It was God, then it was truth, then it's enlightenment. Which is it that you're seeking?
Well, they're all just words that don't really matter to me. So I'm seeking. I'm seeking to understand my existence as best I can, would probably be the best way to put it.
Right. And so
and I feel like that is shown in the way I live my life, and that comes across in certainly Broken Mirror. Um, but yeah, I still obviously feel a scarcity in life that creates a need to earn a living.
Yeah.
But I'm not
Okay.
obsessed with accumulating anymore. You know, it used to be like I want fucking 100 houses. I want to own the world. No, 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 no. Now it's just like I want to flow. I want enough money to support my
Yeah.
life.
And so obviously I'm, 20 years older than you, and I've had a lot more time to think about these things and experience them. And so, by the time I got to my therapist, I'd already had 300 psychedelic experiences. I've already
Yeah,
had 17 years of meditation. And so, I wasn't expecting a great deal. But the other thing is, we'll end it on this one, almost at 3 hours. I'm a very cerebral person. Some people are very emotional and they're very empathic, and everyone's equal. And I'm fucking so far flung from that, Tom. I could never be that person. I was never destined to be that person, even before the things that happened to me. I'm positive that my spirit was never destined to be that. My spirit will
absolutely,
potato warrior, without a fucking doubt.
totally,
And so
totally.
I was always destined to see the world differently. But you see, look, what I did is to get to have an audience with a therapist. I needed the audience with the therapist and the audience with the psychiatrist for my agenda, right? And I achieved my agenda by having those audiences. I needed at least one pretense of a discussion whereby they would take me seriously. And so one of them is that I want to go back out into society and maybe I'll work again. They'll want to hear that. They'll love to hear that shit. And therefore, the state will fund that. I've got no intention ever of going back
Yeah,
out and working.
I thought so.
You know?
Yeah, so just to be clear, which I know you already know, but like I'm not suggesting for a minute that you dismissed a therapist that could have changed who you are and that would have been for the better and this version of you isn't aligned. Like, yeah, you're absolutely you're a Heyoka from what I see, a warrior, you know. A Heyoka just simply is an energy in Native American tradition that teaches food triggering people, basically.
Oh, right. Okay.
You check out Heyoka, like I think you'll really fucking resonate with
How's
it.
it spelt?
Heyyoke, I think, or maybe A at the end, but that will get it for you.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, yeah, that really resonated with me. So just to finish it, I wasn't for a minute suggesting that you're so traumatized that the version of you now isn't aligned. Like you're absolutely who you're meant to be. I think I was just maybe pointing at maybe if you'd have lent into that a bit more, but it turns out that you did a whole another session which I somehow didn't see. That maybe you wouldn't be quite as aggressive towards your commentators, and the only reason I'm saying that is because that was how we started this whole subject. It's like I'm not saying it matters, I'm not saying you should. I'm just wondering and playing with those possibilities. That was all.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think you see the whole aggression thing. It's a choice. I deploy it on some videos. I don't deploy it on all the videos. Many of my videos, I can be so-called loving and compassionate with my little squirrel friend. And, I can speak about, life and people, you're all on our own path together, this, that, and the other. But I look at what I do and I'm like, well, I've assessed what I do, Tom, over all these years, and I've noticed that it doesn't make any difference what demeanor I deploy. It doesn't matter what subject I speak about. It really doesn't make any difference. Okay, so a couple of people will comment on this video, and then they won't comment on another video, but the other people will comment on that video, and then they won't have a comment on this video. But if you look at my videos throughout this past 2 years, then you will see that, they're averaging out at about 150 hits. And I've spoken about Jesus, God, Satan, goodness me, every single thing. It doesn't make any difference. And so I say to myself, well, I'll just deploy whatever I feel is more fun. I don't want to tell people they're all beautiful and I love them because I don't, and they're not. I believe they are idiots. I believe they are lazy, and there's a whole bunch of things that they could make amendments to. And so I give them an opportunity to do that. If you are strong enough, then you will stay listening to me. If you're not strong enough, then you will go. I don't want no weaklings, no shrinking violets on this channel. Okay? Understood? Yes. And then they'll just subscribe and go away. I'm a warrior. I'm looking for warriors. I'm brave. I'm the awakened brave. I'm looking for people that are awakened and a bit brave. I'm looking for my fraternity. It's an entirely selfish thing. And so
Yeah,
people.
I'm all for it, mate. I mean, I fucking love it. You're my favorite YouTuber. But I guess I would ask you, do you feel like you're delivering more wisdom than Alan Watts in his videos?
I think it's the same because anything
So
Alan.
how come? So why does Alan Watts get as many views as he does and you don't? What's the
Don't call it
difference?
cunts.
Because he don't call everyone cunts.
If I just delivered it in a matter of fact way without asking anyone to put their opinions down, without demanding that people think about things, you see, look, why are people successful out there? Is because they're neutral. They don't offer any threat. You can accept it or not. I'm a threat.
But that's the point. That's the point. I agree. Why do you feel a need to be a threat, and why does Alan Watts not need to feel a need to be a threat?
Well, I mean, I don't know whether I do feel a need because for
Or
many
where does
years
it come
I never deployed that. It's just that I suppose my knowledge and wisdom has grown, then there's less people that have an allegiance with it, less people prepared to
But Alan
engage.
Watts has proved that's not true because Alan Watts does get the numbers. So then there's the frustration that you're not getting those numbers, and that's where all the cunt stuff comes from,
Well,
potentially.
yeah, but Alan Watts has his delivery. It's always been the same. It's always been the same from back in the 50s and up until the 80s when he died. It was always like that. He was just basically, he was just reciting Buddhism. Mixed in with a bit of Christian ideology because he used to be a Christian Baptist for many years. Did you know that?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, he was a Christian Baptist, and he went into the clergy, but then he was disillusioned with it because he started to be more philosophical, and the fraternity wouldn't stand for that. They wanted him to stick with the book, and he was a prolific reader, and primarily he was a Zen Buddhist, and so that's what his preference was. So he was speaking along those lines, and what sort of level of engagement? Oh yeah, yeah, I agree with that. Oh, thank you for that. Oh, that's very useful. And this, that, and the other. I don't know. I think that I deploy these sort of tactics because I like aggression. I think aggression is a tenet of a warrior, and I think we should all have the potential for being aggressive, and we should channel it and use it because it's a form of the libido. It's life energy, and so I want to see energy then. And I'm asking for people to tear me a new arsehole. I've been asking that for years. I give everybody the opportunity to say the most abomination or most atrocious things about me. You think you're this and you think you're that and blah, 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 blah. Because then it's kind of like, well, it's like having a therapist every day. I can ask myself, was there any truth in that? And then if there is a little bit of truth in that, I'll go, oh, that's very perceptive. That's interesting. Do you want to tell me more? Do you want to enlarge on that? Then you see people projecting their ignorance, that, and the other. And so, look, whatever it is, this is my niche and it serves me in some way. If it doesn't serve me, then I wouldn't do it. Whether it serves anybody else, that just shows that it's completely self-serving. I'm not here to serve everyone else. I'm not here to bring everybody into the light. I'm here to assist those who are on the path to the light because they're going to meet the jester. They're going to meet the trickster along the way, and that's what I am. And you say I'm this.
The Heyoka. You're definitely a Heyoka. It's the same thing.
Well, okay, I've maintained for many, many years I'm the Joker. I'm going to fuck with you along the way. And when you ask, you come to see me, or you bump into me, little old man, along the journey, and I look like a local, and you ask me which road should I take, I'm going to tell you to take the opposite one. Why? Because that's going to be more of an adventure. You know, and you're going to learn more from that. I don't want to tell you you go straight to fucking Heaven's Gate. No, we're here to have a fucking roller coaster ride. And so, you know, like the proverbial paradox of the liar, I'm going to lie to you. And so, you know, when people say to me about truth, I go, there's no truth. And then I can deliver something as if I think there perfectly is truth. And when people, they're confused, well, you're so firm, you're so adamant about this. If you ask me, is there anything called love? Right? What would you think I would say?
I'm not fucking asking you that question, mate, 'cause it's going to take an hour to answer. We've done 3 hours and I've got 5% battery. So we'll pick up there next time.
Okay, well, it's been great, Tom. And
Yeah, good.
so, look, you had deep reservations about coming on. You said this before we started to record. And I said, well, you know, don't worry, because those reservations will be completely allayed. And then you'll be looking forward to the next conversation. Now, is that true?
Yeah, I would just like to correct what you said a little bit, because it was noticing parts of me that had reservations. I didn't come with deep reservations, as in I was overpowered by that. As I was 6 months ago when we first tried to do this, it was definitely too much and I just shunned it away. Now it's more of a noticing of those parts. But yeah, to answer your question, yeah, absolutely, it was really cool, man. I've really enjoyed it. Let's do it again.
And so then, for anybody else that's got reservations about coming to speak, it's very, very easy. It's very simple. I'm a very easy person to speak to. And all I'm asking from people is if they are a little bit articulate, if they can actually think for themselves, if they do have any thoughts of their own, then you're perfectly adequate to come and have a chat. And so, yeah, well, until next time, then, mate. I appreciate it. I'll bang this up on my channel, and if you so wish, then you could use a video grabber and you can grab it, yeah, because I won't be able to send it because it's too big.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to do all that. I mean, I was thinking we could do this semi-regularly and do it on my channel, do it on your channel, do it on my channel, do it on your channel, and then if people are enjoying it, they'll just have to subscribe to their channels.
You have the facility to record your end as well. You know, you could record this video, or I use.
Oh yeah, I could have done that, couldn't I? Yeah.
Yeah, I
think.
use awesome screen recorder. It's about 30
Yeah.
quid. Yeah.
No, I've got one in my phone. I should have clicked it, but anyway, it's fine. It don't matter.
All right.
Awesome, man. Nice one there.
Nice one, Tom. Talk to you soon, mate.
Yeah, speak soon, man. Bye.
Cheers.